I was sipping hot cocoa in my perfectly quiet apartment, watching the snow fall outside my window. My phone buzzed on the table, lighting up with my mother's name. I ignored it. I took another slow, deliberate sip. A moment later, it rang again. And again. On the fourth try, I finally caved, picked it up, and put it on speaker. I didn't say a word. The code isn't working. Her voice was a thin shriek of panic, almost lost to the sound of a blizzard howling in the background. "We're at the cabin, and the code you gave us isn't working? It's freezing out here, and the rental office is closed for the holiday. What are we supposed to do?" I glanced over at my laptop screen, where an email was already pulled up. The subject line was crystal clear: "Your reservation cancellation confirmation." I took another sip of my cocoa. "That's funny," I said, my voice totally calm. "My confirmation says the reservation was canceled a week ago." Then I hung up. So, how did we get here? With my family stranded in an Aspen snowstorm and me enjoying the silence? Before we get into it, let me know if you think karma is a dish best served cold. If you do, hit that subscribe button, because this is a story about a blizzard of consequences. To understand how I could leave my own family out in the cold literally, you have to get that from my entire adult life. I wasn't really a daughter or a sister. I was a function. I was the family at TM, the 24/7 crisis hotline, and the person who was supposed to fix everything. I was the scapegoat for every problem and the first call for every bailout. It started small, like it always does. In my family, you were either the golden child or the scapegoat. My younger sister, Sarah, was the undisputed golden child. The sun rose and set with her. She could do no wrong, and even when she did, it was just a charming quirk, or, you guessed it, my fault. She was always going through a hard time or finding herself, which were just excuses for a level of irresponsibility that was, frankly, breathtaking. She was the star of the show, the one everyone coddled and protected. On the other hand was the scapegoat. I was too serious, too focused on work. While Sarah was praised for her free spirit, I was criticized for my stability. But here's the kicker. That stability was the very thing they all relied on. My success wasn't something for them to be proud of. It was a resource to be used. I got through college on scholarships, and by working 2 jobs, I built a career from scratch with zero help. I was the first person in our family to be truly financially independent, and in their eyes, that meant my money wasn't my own. It was a family resource pool, and I was just the manager. The requests were constant and always emergencies. When Sarah's car broke down for the 3rd time in a year because she'd forgotten about oil changes, my mom would call. "You know how she is, sweetie. She needs her car for auditions. Can you just help her out?" So, I'd pay the $1,200 repair bill when she was 2 months behind on rent because she blew the money on a trip to Miami. It was the landlord being totally unreasonable. I'd get the call, and I'd transfer the money just to make the frantic, guilt-trip voicemails stop. The worst part was the loan. She wanted to start a jewelry-making business, a passion that lasted exactly as long as it took for the $5,000 I loaned her to run out. The bank, of course, wouldn't touch her, so my parents co-signed, and they guilted me into co-signing as an extra layer of security. When Sarah inevitably defaulted, guess who the bank came after first? They knew I was the only one who would actually pay. My parents claimed they were strapped for cash, and Sarah just stopped answering my calls. It took me a year to pay it off, a year of overtime, and cutting my own expenses to the bone, all while I saw pictures on her Instagram of her out at brunch and buying new clothes. When I finally brought it up at a family dinner, I was the bad guy. I was holding a grudge and throwing money in her face. My mother actually said, with tears in her eyes, "We're family. We don't keep score." But it sure felt like I was the only one playing without a scorecard. This was the rhythm of our lives. They'd create a mess. I'd be emotionally blackmailed into cleaning it up, and then they'd resent me for having the money to do it. I was somehow both the villain and the savior, and I was getting so tired of the role. Despite all of it, some stupid, stubborn part of me still wanted that happy family fantasy. I thought maybe one grand gesture could fix everything. That's where the Aspen trip came from. It was my idea. I'd just closed a huge project at work and got a nice bonus. For a minute, I thought, this is it. This is how I create that perfect Christmas memory. Snow, a cabin, a fireplace. It would be so perfect that it would have to erase all the bad history. And when I pitched it, their reaction was everything I wanted. My mom cried with joy. My dad actually smiled and said it sounded wonderful. Sarah squealed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. For her, a luxury Christmas in Aspen was the ultimate social media content. The budget blew up fast. It had to be a specific kind of rustic but chic cabin, as Sarah put it. It needed a hot tub and mountain views. That was $5,000. Then came 4 round-trip flights, the SUV rental, ski passes for everyone, equipment rentals, and a deposit for a fancy Christmas Eve dinner. All in, it clocked in at just over $8,000. I paid for all of it. Every dime went on my credit card. Every single reservation was under my name, my email, and my phone number. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. It was just easier. I was the responsible one, after all. I forwarded them all the confirmation emails and made a detailed itinerary. I was the family's travel agent, tour guide, and bank, all in one. For a few weeks, it almost felt real. We had a group chat going. Sarah was sending links to ski outfits, and my mom was talking about Christmas cookies. It felt normal. It felt like we were a real family, excited to spend time together. I let my guard down. I let myself believe their excitement was for the family time, not just the all-expenses-paid luxury vacation I was providing. I was such a fool. The call came 10 days before the trip. It was my mother using that soft, gentle voice she always uses right before she's about to drop a bomb. "Hi, sweetie," she started. "So about the trip, there's been a little change of plans." I felt that familiar knot tighten in my stomach. What kind of change? Well, Sarah's new boyfriend, Mark? It's getting pretty serious. And he's just wonderful. We were all talking, and, well, he really wants to come with us. I waited. I knew what was coming next. The cabin had 3 bedrooms, one for my parents, one for Sarah, and one for me. You do the math. "The thing is," she continued, her voice dropping to a whisper, "there just isn't enough room for everyone. And we were thinking, since you're not a huge fan of skiing, and you're always so busy with work." She let the sentence hang there. She wanted me to be the one to say it. She wanted me to offer to stay home. I stayed completely silent. I made her say the words. "We were just thinking," she finally stammered, "that maybe it would be better if you sat this one out. It would be so good for Sarah's relationship. She's had such a tough year, and she really deserves this." And there it was, the classic line, "Sarah deserves this," and the unspoken part, "And you don't." "And Mark?" I asked, my voice flat. "Is he helping with the cost?" My mother actually scoffed. "Oh, don't be like that. You can't put a price on family. Besides, it's all booked. It's just one less person. It's not a big deal." It wasn't a big deal. Uninviting the person who planned and paid for the entire $8,000 trip was not a big deal. A strange sense of calm washed over me. It wasn't even anger yet. It was just this chilling, final clarity. I heard Sarah grab the phone in the background. "Look," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "It's just a better vibe this way. Mark is fun. We can all finally relax without you stressing about schedules and money. You can have a nice, quiet Christmas at home. You'd probably like that better anyway." She thought she was insulting me. What she was really doing was handing me the key to my own freedom. A quiet Christmas at home. It sounded like heaven. I took a breath. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just said 2 words. "Okay, I understand." I could literally hear the sigh of relief on the other end. They got what they wanted, no fight. "Oh, thank you, sweetie," my mom chirped. "I knew you'd understand. We'll bring you back a souvenir." They hung up. I stared at the wall. The hurt was there, that deep, familiar ache. But for the first time, something else was there too. A cold, hard resolve. They had played their last card. Now, it was my turn. I just sat there for a long time after that call, replaying decades of moments just like this. Every time my generosity was treated like an obligation. I was the family's designated adult, their emotional and financial janitor. My job was to clean up their messes and then disappear so they could enjoy the result. They didn't see me. They saw a safety net with a credit card. And they had just made it perfectly clear. My presence was not only not required, it was not wanted. The hurt was real. It was grief for the family I wished I had. But as the minutes passed, that grief started to change. It hardened into something that felt like steel. A switch didn't just flip. My whole brain was rewired. The anger finally came, but it wasn't hot. It was a cold, quiet rage. I thought about them. My mother and her weaponized helplessness. My father and his silent approval. And Sarah. So entitled, she genuinely believed the world owed her a better vibe. She had posted a countdown to Aspen Christmas on her Instagram an hour before the call. They assumed I'd do what I always did. Just swallow it, eat the cost, and accept my role. They figured I'd sit at home feeling sorry for myself while they posted selfies from the hot tub I paid for. They forgot one tiny, crucial detail. Everything was in my name. A slow smile spread across my face. Not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who just realized they were holding all the cards. They thought they were uninviting me from their vacation. They didn't get it. They were uninviting themselves from my vacation. "You want me to have a quiet Christmas at home?" I whispered to the empty room. "I can do better than that." My newfound resolve was powerful. I opened my laptop. There was no rage, no tears, just the calm, satisfying click of a keyboard. This wasn't revenge. This was just balancing the books. First up, the cabin. I found the confirmation email and clicked Manage My Reservation. A few more clicks and I was on the cancellation page. Reason for cancellation? It asked. I paused, then typed Change of plans. I hit the final confirmation button. A message popped up. Your reservation has been successfully canceled. A full refund of $5,000 will be issued to your card. A pleasant, automated email landed in my inbox. Just like that, the luxury cabin vanished. Next, the flights. Just as easy. I logged into the airline's website. My name, Sarah's, Mom's, Dad's. I clicked Cancel Flight Itinerary because I had bought the more expensive, refundable tickets. I habit you learn when your family is chaos. I got a full credit. Another confirmation email, scaring 4 round-trip tickets to Aspen, gone. The SUV rental was next. Another website, another login. Cancel reservation, click, done. The best part was the ski passes. They were a package deal with equipment rentals, and the confirmation email clearly said strictly non-refundable. I knew this would be their one last glimmer of hope. They'd think, well, at least the skiing is paid for. So I called my credit card company. I explained the situation calmly. I purchased a service for a group, but I have since been excluded from the event. The merchant's policy is non-refundable, but the service will not be rendered to me, the cardholder. The representative listened. After a moment of typing, she said, I see. Given the circumstances, we can absolutely initiate a chargeback for services not provided to cardholder. We'll handle it from here, ma'am. And with that, the final piece of their perfect Christmas vacation was gone. The entire $8,000 trip was now just a collection of cancellation emails in my inbox. The whole thing took less than 15 minutes. I leaned back in my chair, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. The quiet, profound relief of a massive weight being lifted off my shoulders. They forgot that in this world, the one who pays the bills is the one who holds the keys. And I had just changed all the locks. Christmas week arrived, and my life was blissfully silent. No last-minute frantic calls, no group chat alerts, nothing. I decorated my apartment, bought myself some expensive perfume, and booked a spa day for Christmas Eve. I knew from social media they had decided to drive to Aspen anyway. Sarah, of course, was documenting everything. A picture from the airport, a video of them in a new rental car singing Christmas music. The last post I saw was a shot of a highway sign that said, Aspen, 50 miles, captioned, "Almost there, let the snow games begin." I also happened to see the weather report. A major snowstorm was rolling in, set to hit right when they were supposed to arrive. On the evening of the 23rd, I was curled up on my sofa with my hot cocoa, watching the snow fall outside my window. That's when my phone started blowing up. After I hung up on my mother, the dam broke. A text from Sarah, all caps. "What did you do? You ruined Christmas." Another one, "Mom is crying. We are stuck in a blizzard. This is your fault." Then a text from my dad, the silent enabler, finally forced to speak. "Call your mother. Fix this. Fix this." The two words that had defined my life with them. Only this time, I wasn't the janitor. I was the one who'd locked the door. My mother called again, sobbing. "They said the reservation was canceled a week ago. Under your name. Why would you do this to us? We're your family. We're stuck. It's dark. And the snow is so bad we can't see to drive anywhere. All the hotels are full. You have to call them and tell them it was a mistake." "There was no mistake," I said, my voice perfectly level. "You wanted a trip with a better vibe without me, so you got one. The trip I paid for was canceled. This little adventure you're on now? It's all yours. Maybe Mark can help." I could hear Sarah shrieking in the background. She mentioned Mark. That witch! And that's when I realized the beautiful irony. They brought Sarah's new boyfriend along to show off the amazing 5-star Christmas they could provide. Instead, he got a front row seat to who they really are: helpless. Entitled people locked out of a cabin in a blizzard because they screwed over the one competent person in their lives. I got one last desperate text from Sarah. It was a screenshot of our original reservation. They said, if the original payer calls, they can reinstate IT. Call them now. I looked at the text, then I put my phone on silent, placed it face down, and took another long sip of my perfect, peaceful, hot cocoa. The next morning, my phone was a graveyard of their desperation. Missed calls, voicemails, texts calling me a monster. I deleted everything without listening. Around noon on Christmas Eve, one text came through from my mother. The anger was gone, replaced by a final, desperate guilt trip. "I can't believe you would abandon your family on Christmas. I don't know who you've become." The next morning, my phone was a graveyard of their desperation. Missed calls, voicemails, texts calling me a monster. I deleted everything without listening. Around noon on Christmas Eve, one text came through from my mother. The anger was gone, replaced by a final, desperate guilt trip. "I can't believe you would abandon your family on Christmas. I don't know who you've become." I heard later through the family grapevine from a cousin who's on my side that they found a single, overpriced room in a rundown motel an hour away. They spent Christmas huddled together, a long way from the chic cabin they'd planned. Apparently, Mark broke up with Sarah a week later, telling her he couldn't handle her unbelievable entitlement and her family's toxic drama. The fallout was spectacular. Sarah had to delete her entire Instagram history of the trip because her friends were asking why her Aspen Christmas looked like it was filmed at a motel. And me? I spent my Christmas exactly how I wanted. On Christmas Day, I boarded a plane. I used a fraction of the $8,000 refund for a solo trip to a warm, sunny beach resort. Lounging by the pool with a cocktail, I took a selfie. I looked happy, relaxed, and free. I posted it on my social media, the first personal thing I'd posted in years, with the caption, "Choosing my own peace, Merry Christmas to me." I didn't do it for them, I did it for myself. It was my declaration of independence. My value is not based on what I can do for other people. My generosity is a gift, not an obligation. And my presence is a privilege. They mistook my kindness for weakness. They thought I'd just stay home and cry. They forgot that the one who pays holds the power. They didn't just get locked out of a cabin. They got locked out of my life. And I have never felt warmer. So that's how I took back my life, one canceled reservation at a time. They wanted a Christmas without me, and I made sure they got one they would never forget. What would you have done? Was I too harsh? Or was it the perfect amount of ice-cold karma? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you believe in choosing your own peace over toxic family drama, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell for more stories. Thanks for listening.